Thank you so much for making time for us today. Could you tell us a little bit about your inspiration for Penelope and how it transformed from a concept album into a musical?
So I started writing Penelope, as you say, as an album of songs, and that project began during the quarantine months of the COVID pandemic. When the pandemic hit, I was in a long distance relationship. I was with someone who was in grad school in Boston, and I was still living in Philadelphia at the time. And so for the first couple months of the pandemic, we were forced to quarantine in separate cities. And so while that was going on, all of these songs started showing up for me at the piano from the point of view of Penelope from the Odyssey. And so as those months went on, I continued to sort of write into this point of view, and it was a really wonderful project for me and a useful container for a lot of my sort of like uh, curiosity and fear and longing and grief and the worry that I wasn't going to see this person that I loved very much, but also the worry that I maybe was never going to be able to do live theater and live performance. And so wrote that and made it into an album that I released um, on my Bandcamp and put on Spotify, and sort of thought that that was going to be it. But then after the album was out there in the world, more music kept showing up for me. And so I reached out to my friend and my frequent collaborator, Eva Steinmetz, who I had collaborated with on a musical called The Appointment that I made with Lightning Rod Special and other things over the years. And we started thinking about how to expand these songs that I had written in this album into a show, because at the time, live theater was starting to come back. And so it started to seem possible. And so we did a couple of rounds of workshops at a new work incubator called the Orchard Project, which is an incredible place to work on new performance of many kinds. And it was during those Orchard Project workshops that we asked Grace McLean, who is, we were trying to think of a performer who could help us perform some of these songs. We wanted to do a sort of work in progress concert showing. And we reached out to Grace, and she, yeah, enthusiastically agreed to do it. And then in the working with Grace, we decided to sort of all three of us create the book together, the script of the musical together. And it's been growing and changing and finding its shape ever since then. Um, but yeah, that's sort of where the idea came from and then how it progressed over the years.
And now that Penelope's celebrated over five different productions, what has it been like to see a piece that you created that's so personal to you go on to have another life in these other iterations?
It's been wild. It's been really amazing. I think the thing that I'm most surprised by and also really excited by is that because it's a solo musical, because it's just one actor holding the space for the entire show, um, the every time I've seen a new production of the show with a new actor in the role, it has felt so theirs. Like it really feels like it belongs to this one. This whoever that actor is performing the show, while it still feels like the show is itself, it retains that feeling of these things that I was writing about while I was moving through it and writing the show. And so it's been so exciting to see just totally different takes on that human being, and I feel like the writing just rises up to meet each new person, and so I that's been really cool.
Yeah, I love that. It's so rewarding when you write something personal and then it connects with other people. And I think that's the beauty. The beauty of theater is just being like, oh, I'm not alone. And
Mm.
even though your story is different from mine, we're so close to each other. And I really love that.
Yeah, I've been really gratified and really moved to see that people have connected with the show on a personal level in many different ways. I mean, there was one person who I talked to outside of the theater and when we were doing it in Washington D.C. who was going through a long distance breakup. And so she had seen the show a couple times because it really spoke to her. And I thought that was amazing. But then I've also spoken with people who, women who have been married to people who are in the military who say that the show has really spoken to them and their experience, and also just people who know what it is to, in many different ways, be separate from something or someone that they love and are waiting to see if they will be reunited. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And how has this process been different from other pieces that you've been a part of developing from the beginning?
Mostly, I think the thing that's been different about it is that a lot of the time when you're making a musical, there are certain structural things that you're thinking about a lot throughout.
Mhm.
And with this, we were really just trying to follow the lead of the music itself, to take something that really began as a music project for me, and in the translation of it into theater, ask questions like, well, what is the music telling us to do? How do we follow that lead? That was really interesting. And then the other thing that I think is really unique is that the source material, in a way, beyond the Odyssey, which is the obvious source material, but the source material for the theater show is that album I made, and that album I made is very atmospheric and very soft and quite melancholy and moody. And then when you turn it into a play, you're like, well, we can't just be sad for 90 minutes. There has to be, where is the humor, where's the playfulness, where is the irreverence, like, how do you find something dynamic? And what was fun then was to dive into a creation process to expand away from the first couple of songs I had written for the album and say, like, okay, there is humor in it. There's a lot of humor in it, actually. There is surprise, and we do pull the rug out from the audience every once in a while, and give them something to to shake up the energy of the piece, so that it's not just, as I say, 90 minutes of people crying.
Yeah, I love having listened to the musical in its entirety and going back and listening to your concept album. I totally hear what you're saying. They hold so much space in their own, but it's beautiful to see the way that you expanded that world and then added the theatricality of different sort of music styles and the peaks and valleys of the storytelling. It's really beautiful. Yeah.
Thanks.
Well, thank you so much. Thanks for
Yeah,
joining
thank
me
you.
today.